It finally happened. In typical Nintendo fashion, we got another Direct today that took place exactly when I was at work, so I couldn't stream my reaction to it at all. But in particular, this Direct was centered around my most anticipated game of the year right now, Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave. The first Direct we've had for the Fire Emblem series since 2017. Absolutely bonkers that it's been like even longer than the time skip of Three Houses. While I didn't get to take the time to stream my reaction to everything live, I did want to rush home and make sure I put out a little video discussing some stuff about the whole game, what was shown off, and some general thoughts. In the last video I did talking about Fortune's Weave when we got that second trailer for the game in our last Nintendo Direct, I was discussing how much I felt that the game was going in a right direction, how I felt like the team was taking the right strides to make a new and inventive game that follows up Three Houses as either a sequel or a prequel or whatever have you right now. But I'd say that after the Direct we had today, I'm actually a lot more concerned, if anything else, about this game, its direction, and a lot of things that it's doing. So I want to take some time and discuss what has me worried, what I dislike, what a sour taste in my mouth, and what I'm hoping the game does when it finally releases. Before I get into a lot of the negatives, I want to go into at least some of the positives that I felt when watching this whole Direct. And that, for one, I would say is that the game looks beautiful. This is like probably the best a Fire Emblem game has ever looked in the entire series. Taking full advantage of Switch 2 performance, making a beautiful 4K 60 locked experience with amazing character models and animations. Like I'm impressed. Very impressed. Like, look at what you're seeing on screen here. Dietrich cutting down a big monster on the beach, and the fact that the characters are actually standing on full sets and not like blown up PNGs like we had in Three Houses, that is wonderful. That is so wonderful. I am very happy with how the game looks visually. Another thing I've been rather interested in to see how it would be used in this game is the class system, most obviously. Playing it on screen right now, we saw a bunch of the classes that our characters will be able to be throughout the game, and it seemed at first that sadly that we do have the same level of customizations that Three Houses had, to where units have next to no uniformity, essentially just have a bunch of Wyvern Lords again. But at the least, I'll give them a small bit of credit, is that every class you can pick now in the game is weapon specific. So that means you can't just be, say, a cav while using magic or bows or anything like that. You have to use the specific weapon type that is associated with each class. But on the other end, that I'd say is a positive, is the way they have laid out the class system, is at the least we don't have 4 or even 5 different class tiers like we had in Three Houses. Instead, it seems way more simple. We got our beginner, specialty, and advanced. I was kind of expecting beginner, intermediate, and advanced, but I guess they're making the specialty classes. Those are either like mid-range you can pick from after you go through a beginner class, or that'll be for very specific units, kind of like we had in Three Houses where you had Trickster and Warmonk and all those classes. But if there's going to be any class to make your entire army out of, it is going to be the Elephant Rider. That looks absolutely amazing. Gonna have your characters looking like elephants out of Lord of the Rings. From there, though, that's where a lot of my positives really come to an end at this point. This is where I'm going to be talking a bit more about where I feel this game is lacking and how I feel it sets a pretty bad precedent for the series going forward. As I stated in my last video, I was worried that Intelligent Systems were going to learn the wrong lessons when it comes to making this game because of Fire Emblem Engage. That because of Engage's lack of longevity and fan relevance, that they were going to instead do Three Houses again. Fire Emblem Engage went back to a lot of traditional formulas that the Fire Emblem series is known for. Things like the weapon triangle, class progression, all that stuff. It was a very grounded and normal Fire Emblem experience that was very fresh and fun to play. Despite how much I disliked that game, it was very fun to play. Because of Engage's lack of success, Intelligent Systems looked at everything that game did and said that we should instead double down on what Three Houses did. If you watch this entire trailer, there are many things that we appreciated from the gameplay of Engage and most of the series that is not coming back. Don't have the weapon triangle. Weapons no longer have durability in general. That's only relegated to combat arts. They went overboard on all the activities you're going to be able to do outside of the main gameplay or even dungeon exploring. And of course, we got the return of another time reversal mechanic. Something I was not wanting to come back, but I think I have to accept is just a part of the series now going forward. I'm one of the people that does enjoy a lot of the segments at the monastery and three houses, simply because they add to the atmosphere of the school aesthetic and everything that you're doing as a professor out there. It works narratively and for the setting and all that. But I am in no form of denial that things got way too repetitive and way too samey. The one thing I can say in regards to all the quests and chores and activities you can do outside the main turn-based combat for Fortune's Weave so far is that we don't know how much points or turns an activity is going to take. So maybe we have all these activities, but they all take a good amount of turns. So you have like maybe your upkeep, the inns, dungeon exploring, sharing meals. Maybe those all take a lot of turns, and that you have to pick and choose every time you're gonna go on to a break before a battle what you want to do. And now it is probably my biggest problem with what we had showed off today is the full reveal of Eshmel, this enigmatic figure that we have been fascinated with since their first reveal in the trailer we got in the direct a few months ago. We have now had it confirmed that Eshmel is the main protagonist of Fortune's Weave. This is our new avatar. This is our Byleth for this game. I'm rather upset about that. I was under the impression, based on everything they were showing off, that we are moving away from avatars, that we actually have 4 main characters to focus on with their own unique stories to dive into, and not just some divine figure that everyone is gonna be drawn to and be the focal point and savior of everything. But no, now not only do we go from the descendant of the progenitor god, we now go to a freaking angel of Sothis, and that is going to be doing time travel. I just feel so miffed by this. It feels so cliche and so... It feels like Awakening, almost. But now we got time travel as one of the main focal points of this entire game. The entire main premise is going back in time to save the main lords, Kai, Dietrich, Theodora, and Leda, from dying or their doomed fate, whatever it is. What I dislike about this so much is that this even takes away so much of the stakes and choice that Three Houses is so well known for. One of the feelings I was overwhelmed by my first time playing is, did I make the right choice? Did I make the right choice when I joined the Blue Lions? But now we have that completely stripped away, and I get the feeling now that they're going to try and give us one big canon ending to this whole game that involves everyone, kind of like Fire Emblem Revelation, instead of letting the player make the hard choice of who they want to support all the way to the end. And in the realm of copying Three Houses again, we were also shown that this game has another 5-year time skip. This to me feels so on the nose and just so cheap. Shameless even. To me, this feels like the developers saying that we need to play it safe, do what worked in Three Houses again, because we can't try and do something new. We tried with Engage, we tried to go back to the old formula, but people didn't like that. Or Three Houses. It just comes off to me as not very confident. What I'm really worried about with this direction is that it shows Intelligent Systems that they can't try to do anything from the traditional Fire Emblem games or expand to do anything truly new ever again. That we can't go back to the weapon triangle or any form of creative map design or anything like that. We just have to keep doing what Three Houses did. That doing what Engage did was such a horrible thing. If things keep going in that direction, we may end up at a point where the game is hardly even recognizable, where maybe even the turn-based combat will be a thing of the past. I know it's probably a super extreme scenario, but the game is putting less of an emphasis on that and way more onto the resource management and dungeon exploring and activities outside of main battle. It's just a concerning direction to see the series going in, and I'm hoping that this isn't permanent. To close out my thoughts, I'd say that I am overall feeling rather let down by this trailer. Of course, I'm not going to outright say that the game is bad or that you shouldn't buy it. We were still only shown so much and have yet to actually have the game in our hands. When we actually get to play it, we'll see the full thing in all its details, and a lot of what I feel and other fans are not happy about might melt away. It may just be poor impressions based on this trailer. At the end of the day, you can all still bet that I am going to get this game on day one because I love Fire Emblem as a series, and the Three Houses universe is still probably my absolute favorite. But with all that said, I'd like to thank you guys so much for watching. Please let me know down in the comments what you thought about this direct. Are you excited for Fortune's Weave? Do you think the series is going in the right direction? Or do you think this is completely off the rails and we need to just get away from the Three Houses format altogether? Whatever it is, let me know and I'll be sure to check it out as soon as I can, and be on the lookout for more Fire Emblem content in the future. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one.